Thanks very much for having me here in Brazil. This is my first time to the country, and I'm loving it so far. I've spent 3 days in Rio, which was tough, and now I'm here in São Paulo to talk about search for brands, which is probably my favorite thing in the world. I'm actually head of thought leadership in Google's performance ads marketing department, and that means I'm a marketer myself, and I market marketing to other marketers. So it's a great job if you like marketing. And I find it fascinating. I particularly find the search side of things fascinating, the really geeky stuff with the numbers. And I'm here to talk about something completely different today. I'm here to talk about brand marketing with search. We have built a system that is very, very good at online conversions, at sales, at efficiency. And that's how we think about it inside the company. But there's a few companies out there, a few marketers who are doing things differently. And I want to open with a story about one of these marketers, because it's quite an interesting one. So who in the room knows what ombre hair is? OK, so I'm counting about 10% of people. And there's definitely a gender divide in the room. There's only women know about ombre hair. And me. I know everything about ombre hair. I don't know how it's happened, but if you don't know what ombre hair is, it's like when you buy a new car and suddenly you see that car everywhere. Ombre hair is this. It's hair that's dark at the top and light at the bottom, and it's hugely fashionable. It's very, very popular. It started on red carpets, and it started on catwalks in California, where I'm from, which is why I know it. And you can see exactly how popular it is if you look at the people who are searching for ombre hair. So this is a trend that we saw, back in 2011. Suddenly nobody knew about ombre hair, and then everybody started trying to find out about ombre hair. And this was something that Google's account team talked to L'Oreal's hair color team about. And they discovered actually that there were more people in the US anyway searching for ombre hair than there were searching for L'Oreal itself. And if you want to look at charts like this, you can do it. You just go to google.com/trends, and you can put in different things. You can put in your brands. You can put in the products you sell, and you can see the charts like this. It's all free. It's all available to anyone. So L'Oreal actually took this information, and they decided that they were going to make a product, because with their Google team, they looked behind this trend, and they found that people who were searching for ombre hair were searching for two things. The first thing was, what is ombre hair, which I can see most people in this room didn't search. And they were finding out that it was this hairstyle. And the second thing they were searching for was, how do I get it at home? Because if you want ombre hair, you go two ways. You can go to the salon, and you can spend something like $200. Or you can buy this product that L'Oreal made in just 3 months. And the trick to this product is you can just about see it. There's this little plastic brush that you use to put the hair dye into your hair. So L'Oreal had the hair dyes. They had everything they needed there, and they invented this brush. And they allowed people to do this style for themselves at home and save $200. And they've sold millions of these things. I think it's somewhere north of 10 million. And they dominate the market. But the other interesting thing was how they marketed it, particularly for a beauty product, because they actually went back to the people that told them about the trend in the first place. So what better time to market the product than when people were looking to find out about the product? And they put ads like this on search, so that if you search for how do I get ombre hair at home, the answer's clear. You go to L'Oreal, and you buy this product. They also did other regular marketing, and this, for me, I work in performance marketing, and a search ad should take you to an online store where you buy something, and it should be really, really boring, and it should make lots and lots of sales. But L'Oreal did something differently here as well. They took you to a brand site, and they've got these beautiful people with beautiful ombre hair, and on YouTube, they put these videos. So this guy, Christophe Robin, he's a professional hairstylist, and that was content produced by L'Oreal. And they used that to show people how to use the kit at home. It also went into the press. Everyone was quite excited about it. And they also used all the different beauty bloggers. So the Michelle fans and those kind of people, a lot of whom have deals with L'Oreal. And they work with them very closely. So L'Oreal really saw this opportunity. Through search, they used the trend to find out what people are doing, and they developed a product as a result of it before marketing it. And they then used search as a giant net to capture all the interest and funnel it to marketing that put L'Oreal front and center. And in doing this, it's very interesting because the hair color category, people who are in 18, 19, 20, 21 don't really buy hair color products until this. So not only did they produce this product, they got a whole new category, a whole new audience into the hair color market 5, 10 years earlier than they otherwise would have. So the way they made it happen was really by understanding how people search today. And we went out to understand how these marketers were thinking. And we looked into what they were doing because we didn't understand it at first. What we did know was how people search. And it's actually pretty simple. These pictures are from San Francisco. We sent a photographer out. We're marketers. We needed some nice photos, and we said, go and take pictures of people in San Francisco on their phones at moments that matter to them. And the photographer got a long lens. These are all candid photos, and he sort of hid in the bushes at the back and took a photo of them, and it wasn't creepy at all. It was really friendly. And then he ran up to them with model release forms and asked if he could keep their picture, which was even less creepy. But it's changed the purchase journey. And we're all sort of familiar, not in this order, but TV, print, radio, offline, affect people's purchasing decisions as they go through the journey. And this is where search has traditionally sat, right there at the end. You've decided what you're going to buy, you had an initial consideration set at the beginning, you've gone all the way through, you've been influenced by the ads, and then you've searched for it and bought it online, and somebody's made a sale and can count that efficiently. But you guys know this from your own lives. Search is now present throughout the entire purchase journey. And if I spilt tomato sauce on my shirt this morning, 10 years ago, I would have thought of 5 different stain removers that could help me get that out. Today, my phone's in my pocket. I just pull it out and search for how to remove tomato sauce stains. And I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Probably don't walk into a restaurant without searching for it anymore and just checking it's okay. So that's a change we noticed. And this is how they actually search. So you really only need to remember 3 types of search. The first is a branded search, like Nike running shoes. The second is a category search. No brand, no product name, just running shoes. And the third is an affinity searches. These are the things that are related to your product or you can do with your product. So in this case, marathon running. And this actually works across industries. So you've got laundry detergent, diapers, beer. For each of these different products, people search in different amounts. And you can see what they're searching for related to your product, again, at google.com/trends. The interesting thing is that as you go up through these different types of searches, you actually start to get a much bigger audience. Depends on the industry, depends on the product, but there's often a small amount of branded searches. There are more category searches than even more affinity searches. For a lot of CPG, if you're doing your offline marketing, you're going to have a lot of branded searches. There might be fewer category searches, but there's probably quite a lot of affinity searches. So these are the kind of things that you can think about. You can't target by demographic, by age, or anything like that on search, but you do know these people are interested. And I think this is my favorite slide. This chart shows how offline marketing and search play together. So you can see there's 2 lines. There's the red line, which is search without TV ads, and the blue line, which is search when TV ads are running. And the blue line is slightly higher than the red line. This is actually the chart as it looked a year ago. And in that year, the team behind Google Analytics has been making the sampling period smaller and smaller. So they now measure the number of searches every 6 minutes. And you can see that this advertiser ran a single TV ad every hour throughout the evening. And every time that ad ran, when you're measuring just 6 minutes, the searches spike. And the searches actually double. The second interesting thing about this is that this advertiser is actually a car advertiser, and obviously they're running branded TV ads, but only half of the search spike is for their brand. The other half of the search spike is for the category. So they're going on and saying, buy our car insurance, and people are searching for car insurance in general. So there's this interesting thing, for the first time in our careers as marketers, people are really coming to us. It's not just us going to them. And we're going to have to figure out how this push and pull works to market effectively today. The final thing that it's worth saying is this is a moment of relevance. It's actually the only place where you can pretty much guarantee that old saw of right ad, right time, right place, right person. So quick example, I'll zoom through this. Nike running shoes. This is a results page. You've got the ads with a little yellow ad thing, and then you've got the organic results bottom left and a product listing ad top right. And there's Nike. This is a very performance-driven ad. If you think you go into a Nike store, I'm from London, and they have a big Nike town, you get this amazing brand experience. Not here, because they're thinking about sales. So instead, you get this thing, buy now, available now at nike.com, shop. So that's one thing to think about. How much of your product are you selling online versus offline, and what's the brand experience that people are getting at the top of the page? Go up, category search, running shoes. Same deal, no Nike, but ASICs are there. So there's a few companies like ASICs and Brooks that are really good at capturing these running shoe searches, and they're being particularly good at new types of running like trail running or ultra marathons or Ironman and things like that. And they're explaining why their products are best for those specific types of sports that the influencers do and tell everyone else about. Still, pretty performance-based ad, free shipping, not a great brand experience. This one stuns me. I get a little bit sad every time I see the results for this, but then I get a little bit happy because there's lots of opportunity. No ads for marathon running. And this search is in the US. There are 60 million results for this search, and there are a lot of searches. And every single marathon runner is spending thousands of dollars on marathon running. Yet, still no ads. So opportunities today, teams kindly help me out here. Ombre hair is still big in Brazil, still big everywhere. Then there's sort of marathon training itself, exactly the same result there. And baby's first bath. You can actually, if you've got really good eyes, you can see at the bottom that Pampers are there, and they've got some content for this. They could be at the top. And you guys are probably getting heavily into content on YouTube, which I'm sure Kim will talk about next, and on your own websites. This is not a great creative opportunity with search, but it is a great media opportunity to put them into that. So how did these guys actually think about the different, how do L'Oreal and how do the other people doing it think about how it works? With Google, we actually divide everything into 3 steps. I think the whole world divides everything into 3 steps. And in this case, if we marketed Coca-Cola, we'd say it was caffeinated, refreshing, and tastes good. And Coca-Cola just say, drink Coca-Cola. But in this case, you understand your interested audience, you reach them, and you engage them. And it's the understanding thing which is almost most interesting here, because you can use it across the board. And we'll take a look. This is actually ombre hair in Brazil, but ombre hair wasn't called ombre hair originally in Brazil. It was called this, yeah, which I can't even pronounce. So thank you to everybody that's shouted that out. This is an interesting one because in the US, they actually looked at the trend, and there were 2 or 3 names. There was ombre hair was the most popular, and dip dye hair was the second most popular. And they looked at the trend to decide what to call the product, because they wanted to name the product after what people were selling. And we've seen this happen. Like, there's a mortgage company we work with, and they've noticed that the things people are searching for are completely different from the messages that they put out on TV. And now they've aligned the two, so that they're actually on their TV ads catering to what they know people are interested in from search. So you can see it did have one name, but then ombre hair sort of overtook and has gone pretty much vertical. This was the Brazilian interest in ombre hair in 2011. Everybody tells me São Paulo is the most fashionable place in Brazil, so it started here. And then in 2012, it spread a little bit. 2013, and 2014, it made it all the way over to, I think, is the Amazon. This is really interesting because suddenly it takes you out of online marketing and it helps you think about offline marketing. And I'm going to show you a quick video in a minute for Kleenex because they did something interesting there. Next thought here is, everyone always says at this point, so all I have to do is identify something that everybody really wants just before they really want it, and then it's okay. That helps, but there are other things that are just evergreen trends. People have always had curly hair, they always will have curly hair, and they'll always search for curly hair, or they'll search for curly hair more and more. And you can tell what they're looking for by searching for it yourself and looking at Google's organic results on the left. And if you look for curly hair, you'll find, at least if Brazil's like America, they're looking for curly hairstyles. They want to know what hairstyle to do if they have curly hair. You can start to actually break down the different levels of interest in different products, or different hair types in this case. Curly hair is second. I think oily hair is first. In the US, dry hair is first. And if you look at the organic results, you can tell that what people are looking for is tips on how to manage dry hair. So it depends, and the best advertisers are saying they're giving people relevant tips. So here's a little video of Kleenex in the UK.
Timing is everything. So Kleenex found out to their cost when they launched their cold and flu campaign in the hottest October ever. The results were sickening. The following year we found a remedy. Adaptive planning. That means, like everyone else, we did a bit of self-diagnosis before going to the doctor. We Googled. Or to be specific, we started an AdWords auction with the deliberate intention of losing, bidding on keywords to get local data on people looking for remedies. This meant we could adapt the Kleenex budget and only spend where people were actually falling ill, ensuring that at the first sign of a sneeze or sniffle, Kleenex was at hand and in hand. It paid off, with over 96% of media spend going to regions suffering a live flu outbreak. Kleenex saw total sales rise by 40% year on year in the first 2 months of the campaign. That's 432,499 extra boxes sold. Now that is a figure not to be sneezed at. So now, whatever the health of the nation, thanks to a revolutionary new way of using research data, Kleenex is fighting fit.
Bless you.
So I should hate that example because they didn't actually buy any Google ads, but it's actually really smart. And whether or not you advertise on search, it's worth checking it out. There are a lot of people, it's immediate and it's authentic. Sometimes in focus groups, people don't say what they really think, and on social, they really do on search. So, second of the three is reaching. Shampoo for curly hair. Not everyone searches exactly that. They often search different terms. And once you've understood the different topics that you're interested in, maybe those match to your products, maybe they match to what you'd like your products to be, you can start working with your search teams to build different keyword buckets of all the different terms that people might use for curly hair and dry hair and frizzy hair. And then you can start understanding how often you're appearing, and you can start putting that in the context of the rest of your media strategy. So what's your share of voice on search versus your share of voice on television, for example? You can also see how often your website's visited, and you can compare both of those with your competitors to get a proper share of voice number. And if you speak to the Google team, they can help you pull some of these numbers together. This is actually data that we have and we can share with you, but isn't publicly available for obvious reasons. Lastly, engaging. Search is actually built on relevance. When Google started with search, Larry and Sergey's intention was to get people off the search page as quickly as possible. It was the only website on the internet in 1997 where they didn't want people to stay around. And the best way to do that is relevance. So when you search, you've got an idea in your head, you've got an imperfect expression of that idea in the search box, and then you're really looking just to click on the thing that matches those two things. And in this case, we have this traditional Brazilian rice dish, which I've yet to try, sadly. Next time. Unilever has created this website called Recipedia, and they've created this website so that they can put Unilever products in front of people that are actually making affinity searches about what they want to eat. And L'Oreal have a very similar thing. They have hairstyle.com. So you look for a hairstyle, you're often going to see hairstyle.com. It's not even L'Oreal branded, but it'll appear at the top. And that's fairly self-explanatory. So once you get to the website, there's the recipe, and it's a very engaging experience. So they've done 3 things. They've understood the audience, they're searching for recipes, they've reached them through search, they've understood which recipes are most popular, and they've built those into their website, and then they've built an engaging website. And another quick video, this was a much more creative use of search from Snickers.
Office workers, poor creatures, like Nick, in desperate need of snacks and entertainment. No wonder they make mistakes. But how do we target them when viral and social content is blocked by IT? Google! Google! As part of the Snickers You're Not You When You're Hungry campaign, we used Google to reach hungry people every time they made a spelling mistake, and reminded them, you can't spell when you're hungry, so grab a Snickers. Fortunately for us, hungry people have a tendency to accidentally misspell words with embarrassing regularity. We worked with Google to find the top 500 search terms. Then we used an algorithm to create common misspellings of those 500. This expanded our list to 25,381 misspellings, which meant that in just over 2 days we reached our target of more than 500,000 people, including Nick, with minimal production cost and no seeding.
So that was a great creative use of search, which actually fitted in with the brand's overall strategy, creative strategy at that time. Good fun. So I'm just going to talk about one last thing. I had a problem with this presentation. I couldn't fit everything into 3, so there's a bonus 4th. Measuring the results, the people that are doing search for brands well are thinking about it differently. And search has always been about the efficiency metrics on the left. What's your cost per click? What's your cost per acquisition? How do you make everything more efficient? People that are making this work are using brand metrics, the same things that you'd use elsewhere: impressions and engagement, time on site, video views, share of voice, and even perception. And if you're speaking to your search teams outside Google, you might find that they say, oh, I'm not sure we can do this because it's going to kill our cost per acquisition. The trick is to separate your acquisition campaigns from your branding campaigns, and then create the metrics that you're interested in for the branding campaigns, and check it out. And I'm not saying you should all absolutely do this. You should think about search as another brand media. And you should then look at it in the context of all of your brand media, and you should spend on it if it makes sense. You should understand the size of the audience, you should understand how much it costs to reach them, and you should understand what the outputs are, and then go from there. But I can't go into the details here, but the Google team can help you do that. I've just talked about this actually, you can start to see how many different types of queries there are over time, and this is a bit of a complex graph, but you can start to see whether you're winning them or not. And in this case, this advertiser has had about 20% impression share of voice, so their ads were showing 20% of the time versus their competitors, and they had about 18%, I'm sorry, I'm not reading that right, about 16% click share of voice. So their ads were getting clicked on less often than they were showing because they were less effective than their competitors' ads. What they've managed to do is increase their impression share to somewhere where they're comfortable with. They've also increased the quality of their ads so that they're getting more clicks because they're more relevant, and it's costing them less because Google actually rewards you for increased relevance. The more relevant your ads are, the less you'll pay, all else being equal. It's actually worth mentioning here, you don't pay for impressions on search. You only pay if they click. They do need to click, otherwise search decides that your ad isn't relevant to them. So the final thing, we've run a bunch of custom studies. We did studies across 61 different advertisers across, I think, 12 verticals. 4 are picked out here, and search increases top-of-mind awareness. So it's having an effect on traditional brand metrics like awareness, consideration, and perception. And this is dependent on the advertiser. We've had CPG advertisers in Brazil, actually, who have found an increase in perception related to the characteristics of the search. So if you were searching for best small car and the advertiser advertised their small car, you start to see that brand as offering the best small cars. So that's really it. That's the story that started with L'Oreal and followed on with a bunch of other advertisers. I hope it's been interesting. I hope you've learned something about search. And once again, thanks very much for inviting me today.